Hi, I'm Premji Shachari. I'm the curator of the exhibition Luminous Reveries that is organized by Gallery Dotwalk at the Travancore Palace. This is the first exhibition that is happening at the Travancore Palace after its revamp. As all of you know, Travancore Palace is a heritage site that was built in the 1930s, and it has recently opened up again for cultural activities. We thank the administration of the Travancore House and the Kerala state government for allowing us to host this exhibition. And Gallery Dotwalk has been doing commendable work over the last 1 year through various exhibitions and other outreach activities. This exhibition is again one of the ambitious exhibitions of Dotwalk, where we have brought together more than 30 artists from different parts of the world, including India and many other countries, such as Kenya, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Switzerland, Ethiopia, USA, Italy, Netherlands, Amsterdam. It's been a great privilege to work with all the artists of this show. The idea behind the Luminous Reveries was to showcase the various trajectories that contemporary art has taken globally. And the curatorial task was to weave these together to kind of contain these trajectories, wove them together into certain narratives, make them part of certain thematics that could also do justice to them. As part of that, we selected almost 5 themes that dealt with these different narratives, different aspects of the contemporary art. So we have a gallery that deals with identity, representation, and the various possibilities and the threats that identity is facing right now in the contemporary times. It's called the Illuminated Identities. We have a gallery called Fragments of Memory that deals with the issues of remembering and forgetting and inscribing again and again to remember, especially using visual arts as such. There is a gallery called the Ethos of Existence that deals with very pertinent questions of our time, especially related to ecology, displacement, pollution, climate change, and everything. Then we have a section called the Reverberations of Mind that deals with the human technological intersection and the rapid changes that is happening at the level of technological advancement and how it affects human beings. And finally, we have embodied narratives that also deals with body, gender, identity, sexuality, but all these bodies coming together, narrating their own stories, telling their stories, reclaiming their stories, voicing their concerns about the biopolitics, about what is happening in the world and how the body is confined, what body has become today. So I'll take you through all these galleries one by one and also briefly give you a glimpse of what the artists have presented. The first gallery which you enter is the Illuminated Identities. And here we have works of different artists. And I'm standing in front of the work of the Kenyan artist Sujesha. And for me, this gallery, as much as it is about identity, it's also about color, it's about representation, but primarily it is about color for me. And as you will navigate through this gallery, you will see various artists grappling with the issues of the not only identity as such, but also foregrounding their own vernacular forms, motifs, and their concerns through their particular visual language as such. This is a very beautiful painting by Sujay, who is based in Kenya, as I said earlier. And most of Sujay's work deals with, especially the recent and the latter part of his work, deals with this kind of scenes where animals intrude into these domestic spaces, where they're like, you can see this chaotic scene that is emerging in the landscape, the pictorial landscape here, which is an ode also to the long history of the colonial expedition, the colonial hunt that had damaged the flora and the fauna. So here what we are seeing is almost the return of these beasts into the domestic sphere, attacking, taking over. What we are also seeing here are the Victorian furnitures. So what is getting tumbled down, the things that are falling apart, are the colonial memorabilia, the furnitures that these so-called savages or beasts are attacking and taking over. So this dichotomy between that was created during the colonial time, the civilized and the savage, the civilized through various paraphernalia, various objects, are challenged here, is toppled down here, is attacked here by the use of this picture, this chaotic scene of attack, violence and everything. But also what is remarkable is the use of color. And Suche says very interestingly that why color is important, because in the white world, the imagination of whiteness is so strong. The idea of neutrality that comes with white or gray. And even if you look at the long history of classical marbles and everything, the Greek marble sculptures, the Greek architecture, the idea of white as neutral, the idea of white as the pinnacle of aesthetics, it can only be challenged by bringing together various colors that we hold dear. And here is one more artist which I want to talk to you about, who has done this already in the 70s. This is by Ravindra Reddy, one of the most important sculptors from South Asia, from India. And as all of you know, that Reddy is known for this kind of dramatic female figures. The work is quite opulent, quite bright, vivid colors, and the face is glowing with this golden shimmer. And it's this beautiful woman who has been decked up with flowers, the earrings, the red lipstick, the dramatic eyes and everything. But the idea of doing this in the 70s is something unimaginable, when the sculptural form itself was following a convention of neutrality by using certain forms created from bronze, stone, wood or cement. But nobody thought about putting color onto it. And here we have an artist who started doing that by the 70s, and not only putting it color out there, but also using industrial color that was symptomatic of that time. Claiming that historically our sculptures had colors. And it's only the neutrality of modernity that has taken away the color from sculptures. So bringing back your own tradition, bringing back the forms, the colors, the motifs, the objects that are part of your own region is an essential practice of many of these artists, including what you see here by Amjad, who has meticulously assembled a wide range of objects, motifs, mediums here, and wide range of stories here, as you can see. There is embroidery, there are beads, all paintings, all skillfully presented here, and created this lush landscape for different stories to unfold. Stories from one's own region, stories from one's own forgotten memories, stories from one's own landscapes and all. It's quite beautiful, quite soothing to stand in front of this and look at each pattern, look at each bead very carefully, and slowly thinking how each of these form the larger picture in front of us. and hidden with stories, hidden with people who want to say something. And when we talk about people who want to say something, here is again an artist from Ethiopia, Tamar Tegene, who has done these 3 monoprints for us. And it is so powerful to stand in front of these 3 figures, with especially these 2 staring on us, and that one with a profile sideways, a resigned look that's going there. And what I invite you to look at is really the texture, the lines that has gone into it to present this expressionistic detail that has come out of it. And it's again a strong black identity that is presented here, that's very open, vocal about its color. So as I said earlier, color becomes a very important motive in this gallery, and also material and materiality. Even in this artist, Priyaranjan Purkayat, the young artist from Kolkata, and who does this, again, very detailed paintings of that reminds us of this jute sacks, worn down, that's usually used for many purposes, sometimes even to sleep, sometimes even to cover your houses, floors, especially when you don't have money. It's part of your lifestyle, but it's also part of the industrial system where you pack things. And what happens after you pack these things? You dump these things. And this is used in many ways. So the idea of recycling, but the idea of these objects that are part of your everyday life, that define your identity, that become part of your identity, everyday life, and reclaiming those objects by giving them a different life, by painting them. That's what we see in Luminous Reveries here. And along with that, we have work by Marcus Benziger. We have work by Shajit in the same gallery when you enter. We also have a beautiful sculpture by Amjum Rizvi, the same artist who did the 3 paintings which we saw. It's again a fabulous creation that has used a lot of detailing, that has gone a lot of that uses a lot of beads and everything, but it's quite a playful sculpture. And we also have a painting by Kodanda Rao that captures a very beautiful imagery on a beach. So that's what we have here. So this is a gallery that has different kind of works, but mainly this is a gallery that is dedicated for fragments of memory. But here we have 2 works that are also not from this particular theme. We have Abdullah here, whose work is part of the theme, the reverberations of mind. Hi, Abdullah.
Hi.
So what we are seeing here are these, mainly this is what you call a sphere that is glowing intermittently. It's not glowing regularly, but it's kind of, somebody who saw it said that's like looking like a jellyfish. People are getting different ideas from it. But you come closely, don't touch it, it's like has these syringe needles on it.
Yeah.
What was the idea behind this?
This was idea like when we are seeing the nature, some nature have like a very beautiful things, but if you go inside it, it's very danger. As it is, it looks so good, but inside it, it's very danger. No, that's a basic line, like basic idea. Like it looks so good, then it beats like hard, like it have its life. It's breathing actually.
Yeah.
Like that, the idea is coming from that actually. It looks so good. It's a life, but it's so scary also. It's so scary. We are very fear to touch. No, that's a basic idea in this work actually.
Thank you. It looks like it's filled with life.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like glowing with life, or maybe it's also flickering, it's dying down.
Yeah.
It also gives that impression. So it plays with both life and death.
Death, yeah.
Yeah, it plays with very
Then
beautifully.
the fear is also a part. The fear see some very good objects. We will feel that it's very beautiful thing, very glow or very beautiful thing also. But in reality, it's different. The case is so different. The nature is also doing this exactly same kind of stuff in nature. Some fruits are so reddish, we will feel that it's very tasty or it's very, but it's
Can be poisonous also.
yeah, like that's
No, it can be poisonous also.
yeah, it's very poisonous.
Yeah.
The kind of a frog is also, it looks so beautiful, like that's basic idea on it.
So yeah, what I take from this is also that a commentary on technology. That technology, as much as it is also beneficial, it is benevolent, it advances us, but it also has its own dangers. It has its own hidden pitfalls too. And that's what Abdullah's previous work also, which we had in another show, Things Are Vanishing Before Us, where also he dealt with objects, technology, mobility, movement, the things that surround us, and the interplay of all these things together. So as I was saying, this is a gallery that's mainly for fragments of memory. Here we have work by Shivdas Sengupta. We have works by Deep Jyoti Kalita, this one. And we have works by Mansoor Mansoori. We have the artist Dihan Karim from Bangladesh. We have another important contemporary artist whose painting, as you can see here, is in the background, Sujit Essen. And we also have the curator and another important contemporary artist, Murli Chirot. This is by a very prominent contemporary artist, performer, Maura Biava, who belongs to Italy and Netherlands. And Maura has a very versatile practice. Most of her practice deals with sculpting, photography, performance, video works, but that primarily deals with geometric patterns, mathematical patterns, objects, shapes, natural phenomena, and where she inserts herself through her practice, through her sculptures and everything. And here are a series of performances she has done underwater, immersing herself, looking at the natural phenomena, looking at indulging the body into the nature, and also bringing together different aspects of her own creation here, like the sphere, the bubble sphere, the geometric shape here. All of it has come together very poignantly in this particular kind of assemblage of her photographs. We have paintings by Shivdas Sengupta, very interesting, very important young painter who has extensively dealt with the colonial history and the history of monument making, the official monument making, and what happens to that, underlying the ideologies that shift, and what happens to monuments when a new regime takes over, how they become dilapidated, how they get decayed. And even in monuments, there are subcategories of the main sculpture and the sub-small sculptures that adorn the main sculpture. Shivdas takes such images from sculptures, monuments, and he gives them different visual forms through his own painterly language, beautifully painted here in this vivid background, contrasting the figure with that, and very beautifully textured too. Looking at these figures, foregrounding the drapery, foregrounding the costume, foregrounding the objects they carry, but also if you look closely, there is a kind of an apparition that things, what they are holding, may vanish. It's like the fingers are present here, but it's also going to vanish. It's appearing or it's disappearing. The absence present, the ghostly presence of monuments, of colonial monuments and colonial history that lingers around us is something very important in his work. And here again, similarly, Murli has made this very beautiful assemblage of wooden objects together, and quite abstract, quite unreal kind of objects pieced together in this beautiful installation, a kind of a global language, a kind of a global visual image that does not belong to anything but could connect with anybody through its playfulness, through its absurdity, through its beauty, color, skills, and everything, where it has all come together to create a large body that exists to invite us to look at the life of shapes, the life of objects, the life of art, the life of things that are around us. And from this, we also look at Sujit Essen's painting, one of the marvelous painters of our time. And there's a beautiful landscape that has unfolded in front of us. There's a long foreground, and one can see various structures that is lying here and decayed, almost dilapidated, slowly emerging from the ruins. And in the background there is a dune, or is it a mountain? We don't know exactly. And slowly there is a cosmic event that is unfurling before us. There is a celestial object here, but there are these small shiny stars that one can look at, kind of announcing something really, really tragic that's going to happen. Especially this kind of color, as you know, is not associated with something very safe. The color here is of something that is already destroyed, that is burnt, maybe due to the excess of the heat that is produced by the star. And that is what is visible in the horizon. And these celestial objects, as if they are falling down, creating an apocalypse in front of us. Already that what has been destroyed or going to be further destroyed. Before moving ahead to the next work, I'll also want to quickly talk about Anup Lett's performance. Anup Lett is a young artist who recently passed out and worked extensively in the field of body. Queer ecology is what he calls his artistic practice, his interventions into the questions of patriarchy, body, sexuality, and queer identity. And Anup's work is part of another section called the embodied narratives, which I told you about. And here what we see is where the remnants of what Anup performed, which usually involves embroidery a lot. And what they did that day was they sat in the middle of this. They gave all of us an envelope, and each of the envelope carried an embroidered message inside it. And Anup dealt with questions of social norms, that how we are trapped in this circle of expectations, how we are trapped in the circle of societal norms, expectations, how bodies should perform, their own identities, sexualities, their own roles that we call as gender roles, and how one could be free from all of that. Anup says he has a lot of questions to ask, and he asked those questions during the performance. And those questions we carry with us too. Like the residues are here, those questions should not fizzle away as residues, but each of us should ask those questions which are really relevant for our times. Coming to another artist, Mansoor Mansoori, who is also an excellent painter, a young talent from Baroda. And here what we see are these two works, diptychs of a memory, something that is from the past, very photographic, but is layered with this soothing, flat paint that evokes a lot. And this kind of creation of this negative space leaves a lot to imagine, leaves a lot of lingering, beautiful memories that kind of stretches us towards the sky, that stretches us towards the landscape, inviting us to get inside it, along with these protagonists who are here. So this is mainly the fragments of memory section, what we have. This is Ethos of Existence section. I'm in this section called the Ethos of Existence, where again we have multiple artists in this gallery. I would like to start with Sanathanan Tamodara Pillai, who is an artist and art historian or art educator who teaches at University of Jaffna, a very important figure from the Sri Lankan contemporary art field. For this exhibition, Sanathanan has created these 4 set of works that are reminiscent of miniature paintings in a way, but also with his own interventions of creating, kind of bringing together texts, different materials onto it, or layering papers onto it. But if you look at closely these works, these are topographies that are divided into different borders. And each border is, or each area is stitched together with various things, embroidered, sometimes stapled, with different ways, or sometimes layered together. And it's a very political evocation, especially concerning the place where he comes from, and also it resonates with the global conflict we are facing right now, of displacement, of violence, ethnic cleansing, and everything. But here is a topography that is constantly changing, that's been divided, cleaved, stitched together, again based on various ideologies that come together, layering upon layering upon layering, erasing certain things, overtaking or dominating certain things, and reminding us that history is also about, or land is also about sedimentation, accretion, that we should not forget that what appears only on the top is the important thing or is the immediate thing. But there are histories, there are civilizations that are buried beneath the topography. When we talk about displacement and all, this is a series of works done by Praveen K. Chaudhary and Suzaina Mushtaq from their project called Vanishing Community, Vanishing Cultures. It's a set of photographs that we have selected for the exhibition that deals with the nomadic community who are also into craft weaving practices. Suzaina and Praveen have extensively documented these communities who also live in very extraordinary circumstances, in extreme weather, in terrains that are difficult to reach, and as such, there is no modern development that have arrived there. But with the globalization and with the intrusion of the global capital into the lives, into exploiting resources, their lives are changing. The landscapes they have seen, they are changing. It's also getting exploited. The climate change also is affecting them very badly, as they also live and survive in climate sensitive areas. That is affecting them, and the rapid developments that are happening in the last 10-20 years in these places have really affected these people economically, ecologically, and also with the proliferation of industrial technologies that are able to replicate any kind of product, especially I'm talking about handloom, weaving technologies and all. It's very easy to displace their labor. And that's what we are seeing with the documentation of these communities. But we have selected these beautiful faces, faces that are resilient, faces that are happy, faces that are singing with hope and surviving the extremities, giving us hope that even in these bad days, even in these bad and the doomsdays, we should still smile and we should still think of resisting the adversity. Similarly, Radhika Agarwala's work, that is also part of this exhibition, and there was a video work that was part of the exhibition. This is a photographic work, and there is also a triptych outside that's near the main entrance of the gallery. Radhika had done a residency in Athens recently, and as part of her residency, she engaged with the landscape and the ecology of Athens, but not just a natural exploration as such, but again engaging with the ecological concerns, and thus emerged a larger series of work. The triptych of this work, it has an audio listening device and a video work which we also screened, all of them dealing with the idea of water and its effects on us, its effects on the ecology, and its relevance on the ecology, and what happens to this relation with water in the advent of this dramatic climate change. It's also very beautiful, like you can see this translucent kind of fabric where the photograph is printed onto that. It reveals a lot, it hides a lot. This beautiful shimmer that comes into it, it gives it a very beautiful quality. And it's layered with different imageries of the landscape, of the ruin, the classic Greek ruin, which you can see here, but interspersed with different imageries. There's a water body, the landscape, and these objects that is floating, all of them coming together and creating a very unsettling image of the Greek landscape and making us think about water very, very sincerely and deeply. I was just listening to Nikita's audio. Nikita Maheshwari is a dancer, performer, and she's also currently doing her PhD from Amsterdam. As part of the exhibition, we have this series of letters that she has written. They are placed on the table, so people can come and take a look at and read this and also simultaneously listen to the audio. And these are fascinating letters that are written with love, also at very vulnerable moments, but letters that also address the interior turmoil as being a partner, as being a woman, as being a mother, but also as being a performer in today's world. Also a performer, a brown performer, South Asian performer in today's world. Also having a political position in the world of performance art today, especially when many of the artists and performers are silent about what's going on in the country. Nikita delves through the history of dance. Look at the figure of the dancing woman, or what she calls as the Tawayef, Nachne Wali, and all these figures, and how they were exploited, how they were marginalized, how they were romanticized, how are they studied. All these becomes important concerns in these letters, and they don't. What is fascinating is that they don't become academic papers as such. What they become as these letters that is written to each of us. That these are important issues to engage with. These are important issues to look at, and as much as culture is here, it's also internal. It's interconnected with our body. It's interconnected with what we are, our identities and all. And similarly, we have these beautiful watercolors by Shikha Soni, a young painter based out of Baroda, who engages with images very beautifully, who engages with family photographs of from her collection, basically, portraits, memories, body, how gender identities, body identities, and bodies are all framed from childhood onwards through various photographs and all. And trying to kind of question these relations and also bring together, not avoiding these memories, but bringing together these memories taking these memories as her own, but recreating them by certain mark making, certain erasures that happen. And that's what we see in these three beautiful paintings. And we have here is a Swiss artist, Johanna Schabel, who has this space for her works, which are these postcards. So there are various postcards that are printed and kept here with an address, as you can see. These photos are taken by Johanna, and the address belongs to the person who lives in this particular place. And it's called Dear Friend. It's a participatory project. So what you can do is you can select any postcard which you like from here. You can sit down and write a message to this person. So here in this case it goes to Spencer in Alabama, USA. And you can write a message and put it in the letterbox, and Johanna will send your message to Spencer or all these people who are here. Very beautiful. And finally we come to this work by Sonia, who is also a Swiss artist who has created this abstract tree of life with this very, very beautiful vulnerable material, the fabric that is holding this tree of life together, kind of spreading out as a canopy, weaving together histories, people, memories, all of it, sheltering us, nurturing us, and then kind of coming down to the floor, spreading out slowly and growing in that, sheltering different things, food, seeds, memories, lives, livelihood, and then flowing out from here. This is a very small work by Sonia. Like there are like other beautiful bigger works which she has done that again deal with issues of ecology, climate change, sustenance, and but also creatively intervening with sculptural forms. This is a separate section of the exhibition called Dotwalk Opus. Dotwalk Opus mainly features collections that are from the Dotwalk gallery. And here we are presenting a carefully selected section of some interesting modern, very seminal, iconic figures of modern Indian art and contemporary Indian art. We have a range of works here, mostly paintings from M. Shivanation, K. M. Adimulam, Ram Kumar, figures like T. K. Padmini, Anjali Ila Menon, Souza, and also this beautiful landscape by Ram Kumar. The sculptures by Kishan Khanna and Lalu Prasad Shaw, and also another painting by B. Prabha. The idea was to bring together these important figures of Indian art, both modern, contemporary, to create a tailor-made section that would also cater to young collectors, people who are interested in looking at buying important artworks.